Good morning, Washington Courthouse. This is Blue Line News. I'm here with Athletic Director Mark Bihl. How many years have you been our Athletic Director?
This is the start of my third year, kind of the tail end of the fall season. I've been at Washington City Schools for 4 years as a math intervention specialist, and then previous to that, 3 at Miami Trace and 1 at Hillsborough. So my 11th year in education, and I believe it's my 31st year of being in school. So.
What is your number one goal for Washington High School athletics?
Well, ultimately our goal is to win every game, win championships. Certainly, the thing that we control the most is to win league championships. If a sectional or district championship should follow, that's great. But the most important thing we stand for is our purpose. We coach, provide student athletes the opportunity to be hardworking, selfless men and women of integrity and courage through the challenges of education-based athletics. So what we get from that are our 4 core values: hardworking, industrious, selfless, altruistic, the integrity piece, and courage. Because for a student athlete to be courageous, they've got to show some vulnerability on the field. The social media these days, as you well know, your actions can sometimes, encourage negative emotion and reactions, and you've got to show vulnerability in that, and it really prepares you for life. So our goal certainly is to win, but our purpose is always going to be greater than our goal. It's one of the things we really stand for.
How many student athletes competed in this past fall?
We had 98 middle school student athletes, which we were down 1 from last year. We had 99 for the fall, and then we had 197 high school student athletes, which we were up from last year. We had 168 in the fall. So we look for our numbers in winter sports as well to be up. Currently participation numbers are up, so if everybody on the tryout list continues and actively participates and makes the roster, then we'll be up as well for winter athletics.
What would you say is the hardest part about your job?
Time commitment is certainly challenging. There are some days where 6:30 in the morning I arrive, do bus duty at 6:45, 7:15, and I do not leave here till 10:30, sometimes 11 o'clock if it's an away event. Some might not get home till 11:30 for Friday instance. Time can be consuming of your life, especially when I have a family. That's the hardest part for me, is anything that pulls me away from my family. But I have the greatest job in the world. I tell everybody that, and I mean it, because I can bring my kids to my job, and they have great mentors and our student athletes that look up to them. I have a babysitter, Dodge McGraw, babysits for me at any event I can. Lets my youngest bang on his drum all the time. So, the challenges, weather, certainly as well. In the spring during our outdoor events, the fall not so much. We've only canceled 4 or 5 events this fall, mostly tennis when it rains. But last spring, for instance, we had 49 cancellations to reschedule because of the weather. So that was from the 168 regularly scheduled competitions, we had almost 50 cancellations. So those are the things that you can't control. Scheduling can be challenging. We schedule roughly 600 competitions a year, about 300 officials. So just confirming the daily grind of the job is great. It's easy. You just got to put your nose down and just go for it. But certainly weather and the time commitment. But it goes back to our purpose. Hardworking. If I'm not fulfilling my duties as athletic director, and student athletes see that, then why do they want to fulfill their duties as a student athlete? So I've got to be an example for them.
If you have one message for spectators at events, what would it be?
I went to a conference about a month ago, and one of the things they talked about was we've seen a steep decline in officials. And the age of officials the average age is increasing, because a lot of the younger officials get in it for 2 or 3 years and then they quit because they don't want to be ridiculed on the field or court or wherever it might be. So one of the officials speaking at the event said, speak to us as officials as if we were your grandmother. Would you ever yell, swear, or question your grandmother? So I kind of looked at it like that. So that's one of the things, I would tell spectators, like, hey, try to remove the emotion from the situation. That's also one of the challenges of my job. at events, competitions, games, whatever it might be, one of the most controlling factors of any event or competition is emotion, and a lot of people don't know how to control that emotion. They let their emotion control their actions, their thoughts, their words. I would just challenge people, like, hey, think before you say something, especially to an official. So at the end of the day, participation in athletics, not just at Washington Courthouse, but it's statewide, is a privilege, not a right. So if you can't act appropriately, then you won't be involved in athletics.
Are there new big projects for Washington Courthouse City School athletic facilities?
Always, but I can't talk about those. I'm just kidding. No, we're going to, we've got our grunt club together, some of our workers. Last year we called on some student athletes to help us and assist us with refurbishing our track facility, continuing to do that this year as well. We're updating some of the bleachers, just some projects we're finishing on there, wrapping up some things so we'll be done. We are looking at potentially doing some things possibly with some lights. We've budgeted either some lights at track or football. We've got to look where our biggest need is. You know, our goal, one of our department goals, aside from the win or the purpose, is to provide additional resources or improve facilities for one sports team a year. So last year, some of our projects were due to flooding. We had to get rid of some cracks at tennis. Also did a lot of seeding at the football field. The flooding kind of destroyed our field down there, you know, made it a little bit of mud here and there for those games, the excessive rain. But we are looking at our foyer as well of the gym lobby, and it's really bare, and it's been bare for about the last 11 years of the school since it was built. So we're looking to kind of spice it up a little bit, I guess you could say. We're working with Herb Jones in their graphic design group to kind of put just some decorative, I guess you could call it, things out in our gym lobby and do some things as well in our gymnasium. So in terms of improvements, you know, the annual opportunity for our student athletes for facilities or resources is something we really shoot for, as long as it's budgeted. So.
That's all we have for you. Thank
Well,
you.
hey, I really appreciate the opportunity today.